I think for me, one of the things that I look back on most and kind of think about most would be a village in Congo, and it was a village we stopped at just around about lunchtime. We spent our lunch hour there, and I remember Stuart and I just sitting under the trees and chatting to the guys, and it was brilliant just to kind of see their wee village and kind of see the life that they lived. But from a spiritual point of view, you just felt there was a real darkness, there was a real emptiness there in the village, and just even as they spoke, they didn't live for anything other than themselves or than the rains that would bring the harvest, and just life seemed to be fairly empty. And you kind of wonder and think, what would the village be like, with Jesus in that village, or with people there who knew Jesus and who knew the hope that there is in Jesus, and like how much of a difference that would make in that village. And I think for me that was just something that I look back on and in some ways regret the fact that we weren't able to stay there for longer, and in some ways maybe think maybe someday I'll go back there, and you just pray that somewhere along the line maybe somebody else will go back there, maybe somebody will go and spend their life there and show them, just by living it out, show them the hope and the truth and the reality of Jesus in your life. God had made me unsettled for quite a while since we had been in Congo on the cycle, and there was just that sense of being unsettled, of not knowing what was next, of feeling maybe there's something new coming around the corner. But that was there for quite a long time, and I guess it maybe just came to a head through a few different things at Christmas a couple of years ago, and just through books I was reading, it just almost felt like this was the time that God was doing something new. So I talked to Kyla, and we chatted about that, and Kyla thought, well, yeah, maybe this is, maybe God is saying to us about going somewhere, doing something new. We obviously had no idea what that would be. The next day, both of us, in our quiet times, felt God confirmed that, and just through what we read. And it seemed to be quite clear that God was saying to both of us independently, yes, this is the time to go. And we felt the word unknown was key in that, because it had come up a few times. So we went to bed that night and just read and prayed together, and really asked God to show us clearly that what He wanted us to do, or where He wanted us to go. I think for me, I naturally would want to go back to Guinea-Bissau, having grown up there and know the language and it's all familiar. But there was this sense that it wouldn't be Guinea-Bissau, because we had sort of felt this word unknown was in there. And so we literally just prayed about it, rolled over to go to sleep, and I remembered that I had had a missed call that day. It was over Christmas holidays and I hadn't had a chance to listen to it. So I just hit the button to listen to the voicemail, and I heard this voice, and it literally was this lady from Brazzaville in Congo who we had met on the cycle, who had promised to pray for Kyla and I every day until God told her otherwise. And all she said on the phone was my name and her name, and then the word Brazzaville. And I think for us it was just one of those experiences where you're just like, it's almost like God is just speaking to you directly. And it was just, we just couldn't believe it. Literally a minute before, we'd been praying and asking God to show us, should it be Guinea-Bissau or Congo or somewhere different? And this lady phones, and we hadn't heard from her for 2 years since we'd been on the cycle. We had had no communication with her by email, phone, anything. So it was totally out of the blue. So it was just an amazing, I suppose, experience for us, where we just felt God totally confirmed that to us. Ambassadors have key programs like football clubs, academies, tours, camps. but they're all fairly flexible and they can be adapted depending on the culture and the country that you're going to. So I think with that in mind, I don't, beyond that, I don't have a lot of clear plans, I think, because I'm keen to just go and see what the needs are in the country, and to see what doors God opens. But I think on the whole we want to see football ministry developed, we want to see young people discipled, and we want to see people come to know and follow Jesus. Operation World has a quote on Congo that says that the country has been Christianized but never truly converted. And I think for me, we want to see people come to know and follow Jesus, and for it not to be a superficial thing where they just simply go to church and they maybe call themselves Christians, but that works itself out in their day-to-day lives. I suppose for me, I've heard the sort of wee slogan, pray, give, go, before, and I think it's probably not a bad one. Everybody can pray, and I suppose that, you know, bottom line, we need so many people to commit to praying. It's a spiritually dark country. People live in that environment day in, day out, and to break that, to really see people come to know and follow Jesus, needs people to commit to praying daily, weekly, to see that happen. So we'd love people to commit to praying, and everybody can pray. I suppose the next one is give. You know, people can give support financially, give time, give their energies, give their resources, whatever it is, to that. So if people wanted to get involved in that, you know, that'd be brilliant. But I think for me, I wouldn't want people to give in place of going, because I think you miss out on so much by just giving instead of going. And I think for me, I'd far rather people come out to Congo, come and get involved in the ministry, come and see what it's like, get out of your own comfort zone, learn to trust God more, see Him work in your life. Those would be the exciting things, and I would say don't simply think, oh, you know, I'll support that, I'll give something to that. I would far rather people consider actually going, to come out and to get involved, and to see really, you know, God working in your life. So pray, give, go, but I would highlight pray and go out of those two. God always provides for what we need, so